January's finally over. Woo! But that means we have 11 more months left of the year. Anyways, welcome to today's episode of the Congress series. Today we're talking about the 12th Congress, which was in session from 1811 to 1813. And this Congress is interesting. Interesting as in what was going on in America at the time. But we'll get to that later. And you might already know due to the thumbnail that we have for this video. Anyways, there were 2 sessions in this Congress. Okay, that's cool. Once again, we're not telling you exactly when these sessions happen. If you want to know, look them up yourself. I'm on a time crunch. In the House, we have 143 representatives. The Speaker of the House, which once again is the 3rd most powerful person in our government and is the most powerful of the legislative branch. It is Henry Clay. You may have heard of him once or twice before. Who is a Democratic Republican. Wow, my nose is like really, really itchy. And it's itchy at a very bad time when I'm recording this. There were 106 Democratic Republicans. The Federalists have 36 seats, and there is 1 vacancy. Because they, from what I understand, is that they created a new state during this time. And I think this is when Louisiana became a state. Not entirely sure, though. But I'm guaranteed that this is when Louisiana became a state. I don't know. I think, but I'm not entirely sure. The Senate, there are 36. Once again, you can figure out how many states there were. Just take however many number of senators there were and just divide it by 2. So 36 divided by 2. Yeah. You guys can figure that out on your own time. Not on mine, because I'm busy with this. The President of the Senate, once again, the Vice President, George Clinton, who was a Democratic Republican, and the President pro tempore, once again, 4th most powerful person in the government, and next in line for the presidency after the Speaker, William Crawford. You may have heard of him, who was a Democratic Republican. And the Democratic Republicans have 30 seats, and you guys can figure out how many seats the Federalists have. If not, 6. Oh my god, my nose is driving me crazy with being itchy on the crest or crown of the nose or whatever you call it. What happened in America during this Congress? Well, that can be summed up in a few short words. Bang, 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 boom, boom. No, we're not talking about a massacre. We're not talking about a shooting. We're not talking about a scrimmage. Much, much worse than that. What's one thing that America's good at? It can be summed up in one word. What's that? Was that Jimmy? You got that right. War! If there's one thing that America's really good at, is war. We're really good at war. We've won almost every single declared war that we've had. And for those of you that are wondering how many wars that we declared, 5. We declared war on a different country 5 times. For 5 different wars. And they are the war we're about to talk about. Here, just real briefly. The Mexican-American War. The Spanish-American War. World War One and World War Two. If you guys think that we declared war for the Korean War, Vietnam War, Soviet War in Afghanistan, the Gulf War, and the War on Terror, and I guess to a larger extent of the first couple, the Cold War, you're wrong. Because, yeah, technically even though we got involved in those wars, we never actually declared war on that other country or countries or whatever. Because that's when the president said, you know what, we should stop the spread of communism, or we should help out our allies, and let's stop this country or ideology from spreading over all over the world. Because technically, Congress has the power to declare war, according to the Constitution. But anyways, let's talk about the war during this Congress. The United States declares war for the very first time against the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, and becomes the War of 1812. That's right. On June 18th, 1812, America's first declared war becomes a reality. And that's actually the second time we fought against the British. The first time, of course, is when we were fighting for our independence. Because, you know the old saying, no taxation without representation. So what were the votes for the war? Well, over in the Senate, 19 were in favor of going to war, while the other 13 weren't. And in the House, 79 voted for declaration of war, but the other 49 didn't. And who was president at the time? James Madison. I'm pretty sure we talked about it in the James Madison episode of our President series. Long ago. Last year of 2018. For those of you watching in the future past 2019. So yeah. I mean, this war was one of those wars and like, okay, British, you're stealing our sailors, destroying some of our trade ships, and there's a lot of disputed territories. And, oh yeah, Britain, we want Canada. Kind of how it went on. And who was the victor of the war? Nobody. But there was a guaranteed loser. You know who it was? The Native Americans. They guaranteed lost the war. Britain didn't lose the war. We didn't lose the war. But the Indians, the natives of this great land, which we call the United States of America, they were the true losers of this war. You might have heard of the Battle of New Orleans, or Nolens. That battle happened during this war. However, it was fought in 1815, and the peace treaty was signed on Christmas Eve of 1814, known as the Treaty of Ghent, spelled Ghent. Yep. And General Andrew Jackson, which will become future President of the United States one day, didn't get the memo that the war was over, but then again, communication back then in the 19th century was limited. There was no Twitter, there was no Facebook. The only way that you get information from one side of the world to the other, letter by ship, which took no more than 2 months. So yeah, Andrew Jackson didn't get the memo, and beats the British really good. You guys may have heard the old song Battle of New Orleans by, I think it was Johnny Cash or something like that. I don't know. Oh, since we're over the 10-minute mark, we're going to end this video off right here, because I think I spent too much time talking about the War of 1812. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. Stay tuned for a filler video coming out either tomorrow or on Groundhog Day. Actually, yeah. I'll make a video on Groundhog Day. And you guys get to see Ohio's official groundhog, Buckeye Chuck. Stay cool, stay tuned. It's going to be 6 more weeks of winter.